Hello everyone, how are you today? My name is Hassan. This is my first discussion board for the class of Professor Barr, English 112. The professor asked the question of the canon as students understand it. Is it diverse? If not, what should people do to make it more diverse? I'm going to start by saying the word canon I had no knowledge of prior to the question that was asked in the discussion board. After listening to the podcast provided by the professor, I came to the conclusion that it was not diverse. Moving on, I did my own research. In my research, I found that the canon is diverse, so I changed my view. And the reason I said it is diverse is because I saw different backgrounds and different ethnicities in the canon. I saw African American, Hispanic, Asian American authors in there. And then one author that really hit me was Kate Chopin. She was the first woman author that I found in the canon. I mean, there might be an author who was in the canon prior to her, but Kate Chopin was the one that caught my eye. She became really big in the 60s during the feminist, or let me not say feminist, but rather women's rights movement, and she that's what gave her the highlight and made her famous, and actually gave her the opportunity to be on the canon or be part of the canon. Moving on, the professor or even some other students in the class have mentioned that the anthologies in our schools and high schools and colleges are not diverse enough, but I differ. I want to say that I've found it, in high school when I read books, different authors, diverse authors. So, and even my last class I had for English was English 111, and the book we had, I found a pretty diverse mix of authors in there. One author was Mexican American. I read a book about, a story about him. It was something about a broken down car in Los Angeles. Further, I read a story about written by an Asian author that was about something when they moved to the States. Lastly, I wanted to mention that as our culture and our social status is, improving and becoming different, that the canon is going to become evolve and go different with the times. And like my other not students, but rather classmates have mentioned in their videos, that as time is going further, the canon is going with the time, so it's going to evolve. It's going to get better. It's going to get more diverse. Also, I wanted to give some credit to the professor for having us read this book. It's called Angels in America, a gay fashionista on national themes. The professor is, definitely helping the diversity of the canon, I guess. Lastly, I wanted to mention that we're speaking about the people's race and culture and everything else, but what about if the author is of a different professional background? That's what I'm still concerned about. I still have the question of that everybody's work. All my classmates' videos is mentioned people's background, people's culture, but they haven't mentioned people's professional background, and that's one thing I'm concerned about. I mean, if somebody's writing from, they have a science background and they write something really worth being published, or being part of the canon, they might not get the same chance because they're a science major, or they're, it's a science, considered a science writing or something of that sort. So that's the question I wanted to raise. I hope this, actually this is going to conclude my discussion one. Thank you, everybody.